All right, everybody, guess what time it is? It's 2 o'clock, which means it's time to get started. Welcome to the 2 p.m. Sales Espresso Shot Series. Today, we are going to be talking about growing your pipeline with active listening. Now, a couple of things. If you're a first timer here, welcome. Appreciate you coming on. Just a couple of things about the series here. 15 minutes or less. We're going to leave you with actionable things that you can take with you to help bolster whatever the topic is for that day. All right. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. As usual, that's me. I'm the same guy that's talking to you right here. If I'm not connected with you already for some reason, as always, please scan that QR code. Link with me on LinkedIn. That'll give you all my contact information. Please reach out if I can do anything for you, after this call or anytime in the future. All right. Let's get right to it. Active listening. Huh? Just kidding. All right. Active listening. What is it? It's one of those things that, us in sales or in banking or whatever walk of life that we're in, we hear this term a lot. And a lot of us have kind of a good definition of it. Some of us maybe have a little bit of one. Others may not even really know how to define it at all. So let's just look at it like this. It is a way of listening and responding. So that's a key here. Way of listening and responding to a person that improves mutual understanding. All right. So that's something that I think gets overlooked a lot is that it includes responding and that it also includes a mutual understanding. So it's also for our benefit as well as the person we are listening to. All right. Active listening is important because, above all else, it takes the focus off of us and shifts it to the other person. Now, if you're somebody that has been through some of my trainings before, you know that I'm big on putting things in terms of the other party, right? Well, active listening is really the cornerstone of that. It is very, very critical because it takes the focus off of us, puts it on the other person. All right. So I love this quote by Stephen Covey, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. And I am as guilty of this as anybody else out there. And I have got to make a conscious effort. I talk for a living, and sometimes I talk a little too much when I should be more apt to listen to folks. Okay. So just keep that in mind and think about your interactions throughout the day and see, especially with your customers, if you are really hearing what they're saying, or if you're just waiting to give your standard canned reply. Okay. Couple of things on this. Some stats. I love stats, right? 74% of buyers are more likely to purchase when they feel heard. Of course, I misspelled when there. That's okay. That's the new creative Kairos way of spelling it, right? So Salesforce put this out that three-quarters of people are more likely to buy from you if they feel heard by their interaction with you, right? 69% of buyers say listening to their needs is the most important trait of a sales rep. Please note that. All right. So let's just round it. Let's say 70% say, you know what, price is not the most important thing, speed is not the most important thing. 70% of people say that listening to their needs is number one. That's a massive, massive number, which is why if we can improve active listening, that automatically has a positive effect on our pipeline, right? And finally, reps who actively listen close 40% more deals than those who don't. All right. So, yeah, I mean, that is a massive, massive increase. And there are just a ton of these stats out there. And I mean, study after study after study have been done, and it all points to the same thing. You get more business by actively listening because you help your customer better. All right, so that's great. We know what it is. We know why it's important. Let's see about improving it. All right. Because some of y'all out there may be pretty good at it already, but you know what? There's always room for improvement. Or some of y'all may have never tried this before. Who knows? Either way, 5 steps, easy, actionable things that you can do to be a better active listener. All right. Number one, pay attention, right? Pay attention. You actually look at the person that is speaking to you. We are all guilty of this from time to time. Somebody comes in our office, we talk to somebody, we are doing something else. If you're on your phone, you're on your computer, if you are rummaging through your desk, whatever it is, doesn't matter. If you're not looking at the person who is speaking to you, you are not listening the way you should be. Put aside your distracting thoughts, whatever you got to do this, whether it's taking a deep breath, um, telling the person just to give you a second, whatever it is, put aside your distracting thoughts so you can refocus your energy on them and get those other thoughts out. You can let them creep back in as soon as you're done with that person, right? Who knows? But while you're having that interaction, put your distracting thoughts aside and don't, again, kind of going back to that Stephen Covey quote, don't prepare a rebuttal in your head while you're supposed to be listening. It's better for you to take a second, gather your thoughts when they've said their piece, and then speak than it is for you to mentally prepare your response. Because a lot of us listen, this, and this has a negative connotation to it, but it doesn't have to be negative. This can be something positive or negative. Those interactions are just as important, guys. So again, we want to stop what we're doing, stop our brain from doing anything but focusing on that person and take a second. Then we can start putting our thoughts together. Then we can start to answer or rebut their statement and avoid environmental distractions. Kind of like I said a minute ago, avoid those things. Put the phone down, shut the computer screen off, close your door. Whatever it takes. But we got to avoid environmental distractions as much as possible and observe body language. Observing body language is really, really important because that tells us not only what's coming out of their mouth is important, but how they say it, how they look when they're saying it, shifts in posture, shifts in eye positioning, whether they're squinting wide open. You can notice the brow. There's any number of different things that we can look for while we are actively listening to dig deeper than just the words being said and then try and get to the real meaning, right? All right. Number two, show that you are listening. These are simple steps, but guys, it makes a big difference. Show you're actually listening, nodding occasionally, which gives them a nonverbal cue of affirmation that you are hearing what's being said. Smile and use expressions. Don't just sit there like you would in 10th grade geometry class with your mouth hanging open and staring off into space, right? Halfway drooling. Smile and use expressions. That way, the other person sees that their words are having an effect on you. Okay? Have open posture, no arms crossing, no hands in front of your face, none of that thing. Have open posture. Sit there comfortably. Don't hide behind your computer monitor, that kind of thing, right? And then use verbal continuation cues. You say, Skip, what are those? Those are things as simple as, okay, tell me a little bit more about that, or can you explain that to me one more time? Something like that. All right, use verbal continuation cues. Number three, provide feedback. Providing feedback is huge because that tells the other person that you heard everything enough to process information to then give it back to them with some additions, subtractions, etc. Paraphrase it back. Say something like, okay, if I'm hearing you correctly, you said X, Y, or Z. And they could say, no, that's not really what I was saying. Or, yes, exactly, right? Ask clarifying questions, like I mentioned a minute ago. Say, okay, I just want to be sure I understand this. Did you mean that XYZ? That's another great one. Okay. Give periodic summaries. So this one is actually really good in more in-depth and longer conversations. You can sit there. You listen for a minute, you say, okay, all right, so I just want to be sure I've got everything up to this point. Okay. So you've talked about X, you talked about Y, you've talked about Z. Am I forgetting anything? Right? Those are always good cues to be sure the other person feels heard. All right. Defer judgment. This is a tough one, right? This is a tough one. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. That's a big one. Let the other person finish. Don't talk over the other person. And again, don't argue with the person there. Now, it's okay to disagree, but we can do that in a way in which, and this is the nuanced part of active listening. It's especially important for my managers and that, and and those kind of folks who are on the call, not to get into an actual argument. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to state your case that may not align with theirs, but we have to be very careful because we don't want the other person to feel attacked. We want them to feel heard. All right. And if y'all would like some more information about how to do this more effectively, just let me know. Okay. All right. Number five, though, when it does come time to respond, we're going to respond appropriately, not respond inappropriately. Right. So we're going to be honest. People can pick up when you're full of it. Okay. Be honest. That doesn't mean be an ass. That simply means be honest. Provide your opinions respectively. Similar to that last bullet point under number four, we want to be sure that we express our feedback, our opinion on it, our take to the other person respectfully. We don't want to make it a personal attack on them. We don't want to yell, scream, cuss, that kind of thing. These are all very, very, very hard to do sometimes, especially in those more negative connotations, right? But you know what? It's equally as important when someone brings you something positive because you don't want to, if someone communicates something that should be positive to them, and then you come back with something that kind of pops their bubble, deflates their balloon, that you may want to rethink how you did that because you obviously didn't understand enough of what they said to say, hey, look, this was important to that, to that other person, right? So provide your opinions respectfully. And of course, we always have the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Put yourself in their shoes, right? If you were them and they were you, how would you want to be received? These are the five biggest steps to becoming an active listener, guys. It's easier said than done. There's a lot of work that goes into it. That's why so few people do it on a regular basis because it's not easy. And a lot of times we have to go against our grain and our nature to make this happen. Okay, so couple of applications real quick. Active listening inside your team. It'll improve your communication. It'll streamline your workflow. And most importantly, it prevents confusion and frustration. When we are communicating more heavily, more effectively, it automatically makes everything else easier. Okay. Active listening with your customers. It increases that true connection. Guys, active listening is key to increasing, improving, and exercising empathy, right? And it increases that real human connection. It also helps to reduce objections. All of a sudden, things that may come up with everybody else may not be a factor for you because they feel heard. Those other things may not be as big of a deal. Okay. And finally, bringing it all back home. It helps you solve their problems better. 70% of people are more likely to do this because you can solve their problems better. And it also presents new opportunities because you're hearing them more for more than what's just being said. You're reading between the verbal lines, right? And you can identify opportunities that may be there for additional business, ways to improve, better ways to help them out, whatever the case is, guys. All right, 14 minutes, baby. That's how it's done. I appreciate it, y'all. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all next week. As always, if you need anything, want anything, more information about any of this, let me know. Be more than happy to have a conversation with you. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week, and y'all have a great weekend. Thanks.